Have you ever noticed how some people shut down the moment a conversation drifts into weather, traffic, or so, what do you do? They smile, they nod, they answer politely. But inside something switches off. If you've ever felt drained 5 minutes into a conversation that technically hasn't said anything yet, this isn't about being rude, awkward, or antisocial. It's about how your brain is wired. People who hate small talk aren't bad at conversation. They're actually very good at it, just not the kind that can feel empty. Psychologically, small talk exists to create safety. It's a social warm-up, a way for most people to test the water before diving deeper. But for others, that shallow water is the problem. Their brain doesn't warm up there. It stalls. Instead of feeling relaxed, they feel trapped in a loop of meaningless exchange, questions with expected answers, reactions that don't require honesty, words that don't move anywhere. And the brain notices. Research shows that people who dislike small talk tend to have higher levels of introspection and cognitive depth. Their minds are constantly connecting dots, asking why, replaying patterns, exploring ideas. So when conversation stays surface level, it creates friction, like revving an engine in neutral. Nothing is wrong, but nothing is going anywhere either. That's why small talk feels exhausting to them. Not because it's hard, but because it's pointless. There's also an emotional layer most people miss. Small talk requires performance. You're expected to sound interested even when you're not. To respond correctly rather than honestly. To keep the rhythm going even if it feels unnatural. For people who value authenticity, that tiny performance costs energy. Each polite response pulls them further away from themselves. And the longer it lasts, the more drained they feel. That's why these same people can talk for hours about something meaningful without getting tired at all. Depth doesn't exhaust them. Shallowness does. Another reason small talk feels unbearable is sensitivity to emotional signals. People who hate it are often hyper-aware of tone, pacing, facial expressions, and unspoken rules. In surface conversations, those signals feel amplified but ungrounded. There's a lot happening socially, but very little substance anchoring it. So their nervous system stays alert, listening for meaning that never arrives. This is also why silence doesn't bother them the way it bothers others. Silence feels honest. Small talk feels like noise pretending to be connection. And here's the part that surprises people. Those who hate small talk usually crave connection more than most. They don't want less conversation, they want real conversation. The kind that skips the warm-up and goes straight to something. Human, beliefs, fears, curiosities, stories that didn't come pre-packaged. That's why they tend to bond deeply, but with fewer people. One-on-one conversations feel safe because they allow depth without performance. Group settings often feel overwhelming because they reward speed and surface-level engagement over meaning. There's also often a history behind it. Many people who avoid small talk grew up feeling unseen or misunderstood. They learned early that being fine was expected, not truthful. So now, as adults, empty exchanges trigger a subtle resistance. A sense of, I've done this before and it didn't lead anywhere. Their brain isn't rejecting people. It's rejecting patterns that feel hollow. But here's the downside no one talks about. In a world that runs on surface interaction, hating small talk can feel isolating. These people often worry they're broken, too intense, too quiet, too serious. They're not. They're just wired for depth in a culture that rewards breadth. Once they find someone who's willing to skip the script, everything changes. Their words come easily. Their energy rises. Their personality suddenly makes sense. The same person who seemed distant becomes engaged, thoughtful, even magnetic. Because this is where they come alive. So if small talk drains you, if you'd rather talk about meaning than minutes, if you feel relief when a conversation finally goes somewhere real, that's not a flaw. It's a signal that your mind is built for substance, not filler. For connection, not choreography. For conversations that leave you feeling more like yourself, not less. And once you stop trying to force shallow exchanges to feel satisfying, you realize something important. You don't hate people, you hate pretending. Tell me, does this sound like you?